Hello and welcome to Fuck Your Opinion. This is a movie review show with yours truly, Sean. And in this show, I like to roast movies. So, review them, but also, kind of mock them in a way. So, it's all in good fun, it's all in jest, but it's also kind of honest and deep cuts. So, that's what we're going to do here. If you like that kind of reviews, thank you for tuning in. Make sure to like and subscribe so you can get more of them, and also so I can continue to grow this channel. So, also note a lot of spoilers. There's going to be spoilers for Girl on the Train, which is the movie I reviewed, the Indian version, but also the original, because there are differences. Before we get to it, I wanted to make a note. So, as you can see, I look a little ridiculous right now, right? I got this big old jacket on, I got this scarf, and the reason for that is I didn't know what to wear for this review until I was halfway through the movie and I realized, Parenti Chopra is wearing a big old jacket and a scarf, like a big scarf the entire time. And while I don't have a big scarf, I have this little blue one, which actually looks even worse. I look absolutely ridiculous and just ludicrous. But the thing is, this movie is ridiculous and it's ludicrous. So you know what? I am actually an appropriate attire for this movie. So let's get to it, shall we? I was first introduced to the original Girl on the Train through a Producer Guild Award screening here in Los Angeles. And it was a really interesting event because I didn't know anything really about the book. I was invited to see this movie, didn't know anything about the movie. I just knew that it was a potential Oscar contender, right? And let me tell you, it was one of the best theater experiences of my life because I'm in this room, this amazing theater with, you know, Hollywood producers, and Emily Blunt is also there, and I think the director was also there as well. And this movie thing is, this is like pre Big Little Lies, so it's kind of the original Girl on the Train is kind of Big Little Lies or more schlocky Gone Girl in a sense. You got that murder mystery with a feminine female kind of twist to it. Well, not female twist, just like it's a female author, so it's from that point of view, right? And for a female crowd, right? So you got this murder mystery with this melodrama around it, right? And for something that I thought was going to be a serious Oscar contender, I thought it was absolutely insane. And it's something where I was watching the movie throughout and going, I can't. Is this happening? Is this really happening in this movie? Are you kidding me? And then by the final half an hour, I was actually like cracking up quite a bit, but no one else was laughing. It would that is so weird because no one else was laughing except me, and it just made this experience so memorable and fun. So that is to say that even though I remember the experience, I didn't remember the movie particularly well, but it made me really hyped for this movie, this Indian remake, because I love the original. Like I said, I love Big Little Lies and that kind of, um, for lack of a better word, like kind of like schlocky melodrama, mystery kind of thing. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna take that and we're gonna add a Indian Bollywood Hindi film twist to it. Count me the fuck in, cause I love both of those things so much. And you know what? Like this film delivered, unlike like for example Thugs of Hindustan, which took again, like Indian filmmaking, which I love, and took Pirates of the Caribbean, which I love. It just didn't work nearly as well. And this movie worked. It was so much fun. But in that it's fun and it's great, but it's also terrible at the same time. Now, I think part of that is just it's Tara. I haven't read the book, but I have to imagine if both movies are kind of terrible in the same way, that the book has got to be terrible too. But point being, I think this whole story, the just where it goes and everything is really funny and really ridiculous, unintentionally so at times. I think this one was a little bit more aware of itself than the original. But the original was also trying to deal with a bit more serious topics at the end than this was, but I'll get into that in a bit. Um, I also kind of, going off of this, wish, or at least hope for, maybe India. I know you love your remakes. Do a Big Little Lies remake, do a Gone Girl remake. I'd be so curious to see what you guys do with it. But anyways, so starting off with this movie, like I've been alluding to, I'm a big Indian film fan. I love, I primarily watch Hindi movies, but big fan. And when I clicked on it, like the Netflix description, I saw this movie is going to be 2 hours long. And I'm like, oh my God, are we not going to get the song and dance numbers? Because that's my favorite part. I mean, I love a lot. I love everything about the movies in general, but I just love the song and dance numbers. And you know what? I was worried, but fears went away in the first 5 minutes because there was a wedding dance number in the first 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, thank God. I know it's an Indian movie now because we have the wedding dance number. And it was great. It was a lot of fun. Later on, we have a club dance number. Well, it's more of a club musical moment. Parenti Chopra is not really dancing or anything. She's just getting fucking wasted. So, doesn't really count. But, you know, anyways, going off of what I was alluding to earlier, which being me finding the movie just silly and ridiculous in such a fun and absurd way, part of that is just the lead character's drinking problem. Now, I am not going to pretend to know a whole lot about alcoholism. I don't really know too many alcoholics, but I would say that the over exaggerated and over the top nature of the alcoholism is just insane to me. I mean, the lead character is just walking everywhere with a flask or a bottle in her hand and just drinking willy-nilly whenever she can. And it's just really hit on your head, like with a hammer, like hitting it on the head, like, oh, did you know she's an alcoholic? She's an alcoholic. Guys, did you get she's an alcoholic? Because she's drinking a whole lot. And this, like, we're like 10, 15 minutes into the movie before she actually starts drinking. And then she's like, starts drinking hard. It's real hard. It's silly. There's zero nuance to the portrayal of alcoholism. And I'm not saying that the movie necessarily wanted to be nuanced, but if you're going to talk about that and you're going to talk about domestic violence, which is something that comes up later, and, you know, some more serious topics, you have to ask yourself, which angle am I looking at? Like, what's my lens and how am I looking at this? And ultimately, Girl on the Train is just like, you know, we're just going to have a good old time with domestic violence. No, not really. It's not. I'm not trying to make light of the fact. I apologize for the joke. It's more that, like I was saying before, it's in both things, it's just so unnuanced. So it's just like her former husband is essentially beats every woman he is with. Her, the main character, Parenti Chopra. I don't think he actually beats his new wife, but also his the woman he's having an affair with as well. He attempts to kill her. And it's just like, wow, you're a real sleazeball, but it's something that happens all of a sudden. You're like, where did this come from? I knew it was going to happen because of the original movie, but if you didn't know it, it's just like it's not set up at all. And if anything, the movie lies to you, and not in a clever way. It's just like, I don't know. Really? Okay. It's it just doesn't really make any sense. But that's kind of why I like it. I'm just like, you know what? I was drinking the whole time throughout the movie. I'm like, a little glass of wine. I could have had more, but I'm like, I don't want to be an alcoholic. I'm not an alcoholic. I'll just have a little bit. So I had a little bit of wine, had a great time. So much fun. Pranchi Chopra's performance. I mean, I like her. I liked her in I should have looked up this movie. The one that, let me look it up real quick. So I first saw Pranchi Chopra in Hase to Posse. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, please make fun of me. Please in the comments section tell me I'm wrong. But anyways, I first saw her in that movie, and that was a movie. I don't remember the specific issue her character was going through. I think it was some kind of mental illness or anxiety or something like that. And that was a pretty great performance, and that was a great portrayal and really nuanced for a movie that I didn't expect to be. So it's interesting that you have like that on one end, and then you have like the ridiculous nature of this one on the other end. So it's just like, okay, we can have both, and I like both to a degree. They both have their own merit to a degree. It's just, this is not a great movie. This is not a great story. Everything is just like, how far can we push this? How extreme can we go? For example, in one of her alcoholic tirades, she ends up defacing this public mirror with lipstick. She writes "bitch" on it, and she just goes on this whole rant about how she wants to like attack and kill this woman, the woman she's kind of stalking through the train. And I'm like, oh my god, this is, well, first of all, yeah, I'm assuming most of my viewers right now are Indian, so you guys know this, but non-Indian viewers, so in India there's a lot of censorship, particularly with language. So you're not gonna get a whole lot of f bombs, but with Netflix, it's like HBO. You can have any profanity you want. So in this one scene, Pranti Chopra drops like 10 f bombs, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, guys, really taking advantage of that Netflix freedom you got to just drop fucking fuck is a little much. I love the word fuck. I mean, it's in the fucking title of the show, but it was just felt very much like I need to drop as many f bombs as I can now, or you don't think I'm serious. You don't think I'm an alcoholic? Well, let me teach you. Let me show you I'm an alcoholic by just saying fuck constantly. Anyways, this scene was ridiculous, and I did remember it from the original Girl on the Train. I'm like, I think that was the moment in the original where I went, okay, guys, something's going on here. This is ridiculous. But there was a major change, and this is what is the actual real negative. Even though everything I've kind of been mocking and jest about the movie, and it's kind of like mocking out of love. I really enjoy it, but the last 15 minutes or so has a significant departure from the ending. So spoiler alert for the original spoiler alert for both of them. In the original, the husband, the ex-husband, is the killer, and he gets into a fight with Emily Blunt, so Pranti Chopra's character, and that character takes a corkscrew, which is foreshadowed in both movies, and stabs him in the fucking neck, and he falls to the ground, starts bleeding out, and then his current wife walks over, and she's just like so devastated. I don't remember the context of the original movie, but I was just rewatching that clip, and she like fucking twists it in his neck as he's bleeding out. It's like gushing all over her. And I'm like, that is the shit I live for. I remember watching that in the original movie and just losing it. It was so funny. It's honestly, that scene is what made the movie for me. So knowing that and seeing how much the corkscrew was foreshadowed in this movie, I was like, okay, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. The corkscrew scene, it's coming up. It's coming up, for the love of God. This is going to be so good. And they don't do it. They do not fucking do it. Instead, what they say is, like the husband, he choked out the girl, the lover, but he didn't kill her. It's actually the police captain or the police detective who was on Printi Chopra's case the entire time. She's the actual killer because she's getting revenge because Printi Chopra locked up her father because Printi Chopra was a lawyer. It's convoluted. It doesn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense as I was watching it. I'm sure if I went back, it would make even less sense. The cop character, honestly, up until the ending, I was like, why is she even here? To be a cop character? She's so pointless. She doesn't add anything to this movie. And it's like you could just remove it. It's fine. But anyways, you have her, so you can have this twist where she's the actual killer. And then they get into this fight at the end that is so shoddily, it's so poorly shot that you could tell that they're kind of just thrashing and they didn't know what to do. And the director was like, well, I don't know how to direct this action, but we'll fix it in post. It's the classic, we'll fix it in post. And then you go, oh, shit, it still looks bad as we edit it. What do we do? What do we do? And then they do like constant like cut to blacks, like a little bit action, cut to black, a little bit action, cut to black, like to add intensity. But you can still tell it's so poorly shot and no one knows what they're doing. And I'm like, this doesn't feel like a good scene at all. And then the cop gets shot with the gun, which I don't even know how she has it. Well, I'll get into that later. But it's like, this is such a disappointing scene. It's a disappointing kill when you could have had the fucking corkscrew scene. That is, again, I cannot over exaggerate how amazing that corkscrew scene is. It means so much to me. So the fact that you cut it out is insane for something that is just so terrible. Also, making the cop the bad guy, like the actual killer at the end, invalidates a lot of the themes and ideas that the original novel, or at least the original movie, is going for in regard to domestic violence. It's not like it totally nullifies it. It's just like it doesn't totally go there. It's like it cuts it in half. It ruins the point. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why? Why would you do that? It's stupid. It's so stupid. I hate that ending so much. And just the little tangent I want to make about the gun is that I am not super familiar with the UK. I've never been to London. This movie takes place there. But the main character essentially goes to like an ex-criminal or something and is like, hey, can I get a gun? And she gets a gun. And I'm like, I thought there were laws. I thought they're pretty restrictive in the UK in regards to guns. Like, I don't think it's that fucking easy to get a gun. I mean, it's like they're acting like it's the US over there, where it's just like, oh yeah, you can go to anybody and get a gun. I can go down the street and probably ask somebody and get a gun if I wanted to. Not that I want to, but it's like the Wild West out here, where I just don't think you can do that. It doesn't make any sense, but whatever. Alls I know is that I'm so pissed about the corkscrew scene, and I'm going to give this movie a 6.5 out of 10. I would have given it an 8 out of 10. That corkscrew really, really brings it down. It really brings it down. I wanted it so bad. 6.5 out of 10. If you like what I'm doing here, if you like this review, please make sure to like and subscribe. I also do a podcast with my co-host Yanni. You can check that in the link in the description below. And yeah, until next time.